So today we're troubleshooting making skull beads out of wire. So these were the skulls that I made in the live stream today in preparation for Let's Get Wired on Saturday, where we're going to make the skeletons. And then after I made these, I had the idea to make one kind of like a chaos bead. So let's move those ones, and you can see this one. So basically what I did for this one was I started with the teeth and the nose and the eyes, and then I started wrapping it around like sort of in that chaos style beads. I'll link up my chaos bead video below, but I realized that I should have started with the wire instead of the eyes and the teeth, so I'm going to do that now. This one is actually a very soft 22 gauge wire. It's aluminum. It's really easy to work with, but I'm going to try it today with the Parawire, the 20 gauge Parawire. A lot of people have this wire, so we're going to give that a try. And then what I thought I would do first is build up the shape of the skull and then add the eyes and the teeth. So what we're going to do is just take a big piece of this, and you can even leave it on the roll if you want, or you can cut a piece off and then add pieces as you need them. So I'll just cut like a really long piece, about 2-3 feet of wire, and then this is going to be like a thicker wire, should be 18 gauge or even a little thicker. This one's an aluminum piece I have, it's 1.2 millimeters, and then basically you're just going to start by winding the wire around, but not in any like particular like order type of thing. What you want to do is start winding it so like it's going to be the kind of shape of your skull, like sort of the right basic size of your skull. And what you can do is just keep winding this one end until it's like kind of finished. So just keep winding that one end, and then when you get to the end, you might need a pair of round pliers just to bring it in, just so it's tucked in there. And then depending on how big you want to make your skull, we're just going to bring that up and down. And so this is sort of our basic kind of size, and you don't want like a really even wind. You just kind of wind it back and forth, wiggle it around, wind it around, and then what you'll eventually do is you'll want the bottom part to be smaller than the top part. So we're just going to keep going it around to your liking. And when you get to the end, just kind of bring the end and tuck it in there a little bit just to hide the end there, and so it's not sharp. And then you're going to need some more wire. So cut another piece that's probably like 3 feet long or something, and just cut it off, and you can just keep adding wire as you need it. So then to stick it in there, you can just kind of tuck the end in if you like and wind it around. It's going to stay in there. Just wind it around, not too evenly because you don't want it like really boring and even. So we're just going to keep going it around. In the original one I did, I was doing like kind of little loopy loops, but this time I'm just kind of winding it around in looks like a cocoon or something. So now we want to start building up the top part. So because the top part is going to be thicker, so we're just going to keep building it up and crisscross it around so it's quite thick. So we've got that end again. We're just going to stick the end in there and then mold it around a little bit. This probably would be easier with aluminum wire because it would be much easier to mold, but we're just going to go with this Parawire for now. So cut some more wire, and same thing, just stick it in there somewhere so it won't come out, and then just start winding it. There we go. We're going to make it quite thick at the top, just around and around, and you want it like pretty, this thing to be pretty centered there. So just go around and around, and then now I'm going to pretty soon I'm going to add my beads. So we're going to bring it around to the front. So we'll get a 6 millimeter bead and just stick it on the wire, and we'll bring it all the way down here, and then to hold it in place we're just going to wind the wire around once around here. So we're just going to wind it around here, and then we want to do the other one. So we could wind it around like just once, or if you want to go around it twice, you can, but I think probably once is fine. And then we're going to take the other one and put it on there. And then here, we just want to make sure they're nicely spaced apart. And so you'll take that one and wind it around this way. So we're going to bring it around here, wind it around. So then you have the two eyes, you know, pretty well spaced there. Kind of looks like glasses right now, but we're going to fix that up. And then we're going to bring it around, and then we can kind of crisscross through them again a little bit. And then if we want to come around here and put the nose, so now we're going to get a smaller bead, a 4mm bead, and we'll just stick that one on there. So that'll be like the nose here. And then same thing, we're going to wind the wire around it to secure it in place. Just wind it around. And then I'm actually going to, yeah, just bring it right around, and then we'll wind this around again, maybe a couple of times. And then we need the teeth. So now for the teeth, I'm actually going to use white beads because they don't need to be black like the sort of the sockets of the eyes. So we're just going to do the teeth. I think 4 is going to be overkill. So let's just do 3 teeth. That's perfect. And then these ones, I think to get them to hold in place, we're going to have to wind them around, or they're going to flip back and forth. So just hold these in place, push this wire back, and just wind these 3 beads with the wire. The end's still quite long, so it's a little tricky to manipulate here. So I'm just going to bring it around, and we're just going to wind the wire right around these beads, so they're going to hold together. So that's a good thing. So already you see it's kind of this skull thing, and you can keep sculpting it. So bring this one up a little bit more and just wind it around, all the way around a couple of times. So just bring it around and around, and then we're going to wind it underneath a little bit more. And if you need to build up the chin a little bit too, just add some wire there. Just go ahead and add a little bit of wire in the chin, just to kind of flesh it out. Not literally flesh it out, but just to make it a little thicker. So there's that. And then, yeah, we're just going to bring this around here too. So if you need to crisscross it, kind of bring it up and down again and around. You're just going to have to go really freely with this to see where you need to build it up a little more. So if you need to build it a little more up or underneath, just go ahead and do that. Kind of crisscross over itself. You just don't want it looking too perfect, right? So if we're going to go like that, and then we're going to work our way up again. So we're going to work our way up here and bring this up here, and then we can crisscross more through the eyes as well. So if you want to build it up more, you're just going to go ahead and push that wire end in there a little bit, get the end in there, and then it looks pretty good like that. And you could totally wind more wire around. If you want to sink the eyes in a little bit more, just kind of push them in a little bit just to make them a little more sunken in. So we're just going to do that, and then the teeth kind of stay together here. So there's a lot you can do with that. This wire I find a little bit stiff, so you might want to go for the 22 gauge wire. I think it might be better, but it's kind of funky how it's turning out like that. So to sum up, the one made with the 22 gauge aluminum wire worked quite well. It works better if you build up the skull shape first and then add the beads on top, and you can always weave more wires on top of it. The 20 gauge wire was a little thick. This is copper. It's a little thick, harder to work with, and quite heavy. The aluminum's nice because it's very lightweight. And then this one, we actually started with the eyes. I did this one as a sample. I started with the eyes, the nose, and the mouth, and it got a little bit more sunk in because I didn't build up the shape first. But what I like about this one is I did more of a chaos kind of bead type swirls around it, which makes it look a little bit more decorative and cool, and you can build up like the cheekbones and the chin and stuff.